Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you another movie review, and yes, this time we're going to be talking about the original 1987 RoboCop.
Jacob here, meeting my icon, Catherine Isabel.
Bloody Jacob for sexy, awesome, exclusive content.
Subscribe and watch my friend on the YouTube channel. He is kicking it out.
Fuck with me and my friends! I'm after my family!
Subscribe.
That sounds like a warning.
It's an invitation.
Directed by Paul Verhoeven, starring Peter Weller, as well as Kurtwood Smith, Nancy Allen, Dan O'Hillery, and Ronnie Cox, also Ray Wise. This is the first RoboCop film, and yes, I am embarrassed, very humiliated to say that this was a first time watch for me. I had never seen RoboCop in full before. In fact, as a kid, I had probably seen more of, I'm 24 years old, okay, just so you know. But as a kid, I'd probably seen more of Alvin the Chipmunk's Robo-Monk than the actual RoboCop movie. So this was a pretty significant, first time watch for me, and I gotta say, all the wasted years. Because this movie, I thought was absolutely incredible. Seriously, I was honestly a bit blown away. I mean, I knew I'd like it. I knew I'd think it's pretty good, something along those lines. But honestly, I fucking loved RoboCop, man. The director, I'm probably mispronouncing his name, but Paul Verhoeven. He also directed my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Total Recall. And actually I found a connection through RoboCop, because Arnold had actually liked the film as well, and things didn't work out with him possibly being it, and they ended up wanting a smaller guy to work in the suit anyway. So they ended up making Total Recall together and everything. The guy also did Basic Instinct, Starship Troopers, and stuff like that. So definitely a filmmaker to watch. Hasn't done work since about 06, or excuse me, well, he's done some smaller work, but not constant as he used to be in like the 80s and 90s and such. But yeah, I loved RoboCop, man. All the practical effects work, the score, the music, absolutely iconic. Peter Weller, what can I say about him? He was absolutely perfect in the role. I mean, yeah, he had to act robotic, but I even found him likable when we do see him as a regular cop, before the movie really kicks into gear, so to speak. I found him really likable even at that point, and I read that they had wanted someone who was a bit smaller, so they could fit in the suit and be as mobile as possible, but they also wanted someone that could still communicate pathos. Kind of just the lower half of their face, really, which is like emotional expression and stuff like that. And Peter Weller was a guy that succeeded with that, I think. And even later in the movie, where we have RoboCop or Murphy starting to recall who he used to be and everything, I think Peter Weller did a really nice job with that as well, while still maintaining what he's been made into now. It's a sad story, especially when we see the flashbacks to his wife and kids and stuff like that, and But yeah, I thought Peter Weller looked really good, and I thought he really worked in the role. Kurtwood Smith as sort of our main villain of the movie, responsible for what caused Murphy to have to become RoboCop in the first place, which we'll talk about in a minute. He was basically casted against what's expected of him. I know there's a better term for that, but it's 2 in the morning, so I can't think of it. He's typically known as playing nicer guys. Of course, the sitcom he's known for. He's he's a bit of a sarcastic prick, really. Or that's his character's personality anyway. But in movies, he was mostly known for playing nicer guys, and well, at times I felt like they could have cast a more intimidating actor for his role. As the movie went along, I felt like he injected a lot of personality into it. I felt like he really embodied the type of guy he was. So I thought he ended up working pretty well too. And again, I just got to praise at least most of the practical effects work in this movie. It all looked really good. All the action and shootout sequences I thought looked just amazing. I loved all the blood. As a horror, action sci-fi fan, I gotta say the blood was quite nice to see as well. It's a pretty violent movie, man. Obviously, something pretty devastating happens to the guy for him to be made into RoboCop. And it's quite violent. I got to get the Arrowhead Blu-ray release. I love the cover to that. But I have the regular Blu-ray director's cut right here, unrated. And yeah, so Murphy's sort of, basically his death scene, towards the, the first quarter or so of the movie. It's very brutal, man. I'm not sure what it looks like in theatrical, but I remember my brother even saying that, as a kid, he was, kind of shaken by it. But as far as the director's cut unrated version goes, it's, yeah, it got me a little bit, man. And you guys know the kind of movies I watch. Maybe it's because I like Peter Weller, I got to me more, but still, yeah, pretty damn nice guy getting basically just shot to hell. Let's put it that way. It leaves a little room for your imagination. So definitely, I don't know, I had this preconceived notion of what RoboCop was, versus something like Terminator. Arnold Schwarzenegger's my ultimate favorite action actor, one of my ultimate favorite actors in general. And it's not about RoboCop or Terminator, but obviously RoboCop took some inspiration from Terminator, as well as Judge Dredd, apparently. I gotta say, I've gotten, maybe more enjoyment out of RoboCop than maybe Terminator to some extent, A very different movie compared to the first Terminator. And obviously, Terminator 2 is iconic, but so is RoboCop, and it's a lot closer than you'd think for me at this point. Different viewing experiences, but I gotta say, from a pure entertainment value level, RoboCop sort of has an edge for me right now. I don't know. Not just comparing Arnold himself, but just the movies in general and such. Oh, man. It was just so entertaining. I thought it was fairly well shot. I thought it was well edited, even though I guess I ran into some issues with the editing, post-production. And it got to the point where one of the shootouts ended up being cut together faster than they wanted it to be, but sort of worked. And yeah, it was a great scene, the main warehouse one, where he first comes back after Kurtwood Smith and stuff like that. And there's some pretty decent humor in the movie too. Just some stoic lines, when he's in RoboCop arrest mode. Just some very very matter of fact arrest, perfect police officer line that he gives or something. To bounce off of the personality of the criminals, or it's what the fuck. It works. And there's some commentary in the film. Just about different themes, from greed to, just different things of that nature, that, humanity and stuff like that, I'm not gonna dive into that whole analyzation right now, but I thought the movie was great. Peter Weller's face on RoboCop, again, I thought actually looked very good. Could have been cheesy, but I think it actually worked. My only issue with effects, also, yeah, before I get into it further, Ronnie Cox I thought worked as one of the other villains too. Is that perfect, you know, kind of power hungry, you know, older corporate dick, I guess. My only issue effects wise with the film was probably the stop motion of the yeah, there it is, for the older machine that they were trying to use initially. And at times it looks alright, but they go, you know, they try to mix stop motion, you know, with some with the regular effects work in the film, and sometimes doesn't always look the best. Like you see, they do it the best they can, you know, mixing both of them. But at times it comes off like the thing is as small as it is, even though they shoot in a way to make it seem like it has a certain, you know, scale to it. It's not too bad, but I felt like they should have maybe taken some kind of different approach to that. I'm not sure. I'm not saying no effort went into it, but you know, if I had to, you know, nitpick. But just the enjoyment level I got from this movie, holy shit, man. I was just like, wow, this is fucking good. I was really into this. I don't know how else to say it. Again, the music's, you know, still going through my head right now. The ending is, you know, really, really satisfying, and I think it's one of the best action, you know, sci-fi endings of all time. Really satisfying, and ends at just the right point. You kind of want a little bit more, and I will watch the sequels at some point. But just as a standalone film, I think it's about fucking perfect. Nancy Allen does a decent job as well. The movie isn't overly long. It's a little over an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I'm rating it like a 96%, honestly. I gave it a 10 out of 10 IMDb, rounding it up. But I don't see myself rating, you know, I am probably on a high for the movie right now, having just seen it. But I don't see myself rating it any lower than like a 93, 94% at any time. I thought it was very, very good, very violent. The shootouts are very entertaining. There's an constant energy throughout the film. The pacing is very good. I never got bored. It was the first movie in a while where I didn't have an urge to sort of just look at my phone and kind of just glance up. And you know, it's not that I don't like some of the films I watched lately. It's just you know, I feel like my attention isn't fully with it. But RoboCop, it was. I think it may be jumping the shark, but it's probably one of my all-time, you know, 10, 20, 30 favorite movies right now. And if you know me, I've seen a lot of movies, so that's really narrowing it down. I wish I had seen it years and years ago as a kid somehow, even though it's pretty fucking violent. But it just makes it a lot more awesome as an adult. And there's just a lot to enjoy, you know, from the humor to the action to Peter Weller's performance. The bad guys, you know, as you know, thin as they are, they really work for it. So yeah, I think RoboCop deserves all the hype it has and more. What can I say? It's a classic of the sci-fi and action genre, I think. I think it's one of the greatest of either I've ever seen. And probably one of my all-time favorite movies now, guys. So, yeah, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.